Hunger's Not a Game is gonna fight world hunger, right? Well, how does one fight world hunger without just throwing food at it and hoping it goes away?
We're the Harry Potter Alliance!
As you guys may know, the HPA is partnering with Oxfam America's The Grow Campaign, and the Grow Campaign is targeting 5 major issues that lead to world hunger. One problem is that food is being handled economically as if it were oil or some other product that you can own stock on. Food shouldn't have its value artificially determined without adhering to supply and demand. Small-scale farmers cannot keep up with the risk managing required in an agricultural market where the food value is so volatile that the price can change rapidly from one day to the next. The Grow Campaign also involves improving the current US food aid system. The main problem with the system is that it is a requirement for the food to be produced and shipped from the United States to the countries in need, which puts big farms and the shipping industry ahead of the people who actually need this aid. 32% of the taxpayers' money going into this initiative is wasted due to the inefficiency of the system. It's like me buying some product from England and paying some ridiculous shipping price to have it sent to me when I could just go to the corner store and buy the exact same product while stimulating my economy and not spending so much money on this shipping price. The main point of this reform is to use local and regional food markets in the countries needing the aid instead of shipping from the US, which saves time, money, and lives. The worst injustice we are fighting with the Hunger is Not a Game campaign is land grabbing, which is basically when a government or a company goes up to an area of land and they're like, well, I need all this land here to build or plant stuff. That's annoying. There are people living here in their homes. So then they kick all those people out of their homes, and sometimes they burn the homes, and then they use their land. All the people that lived there now become homeless and refugees. You know what's costing US taxpayers $6 billion and doing absolutely no good? Okay, you can probably unfortunately think of a few things, but the answer is corn ethanol production. The US government is subsidizing oil companies to blend corn ethanol, which is not only a total waste of corn that could be used to feed people, but is also not reducing our foreign dependency on oil, is harming the environment, and is raising prices of corn worldwide, as 40% of the corn harvest of the United States is used in corn ethanol production. As we've established this month, women own, and something else that owns is more food. That's why we want to help small-scale farmers and particularly empower female farmers on which many rural communities depend. A lot of these farmers can barely produce enough to feed their own families, let alone have enough left over for locals to buy. This is due to droughts, floods, and other extreme conditions, as well as a lack of resources. We want to help these farmers adapt to these difficult conditions, thus reducing hunger and poverty in the region. Now that you know a little more about the Hunger is Not a Game campaign, I hope that you will join Oxfam and the HPA in stopping the reign of the capital in the real world. By the way, Hunger is Not a Game campaign, just as fun to say as Not in Harry's Name campaign. You can sign a pledge to help on the Imagine Better site by clicking here or following the link in the description. Suzanne Collins has used the power of story to reach us, and now we are using the power of story to reach others. Now for the Hunger Games discussion. If you haven't read the first book, then there might be spoilers. Last week I asked you if you thought that Peeta burned the bread on purpose to give to Katniss and her family because they were starving. Nettie Nud thinks yes, and that this action introduces Peeta as a kind and caring person that will be very important later in the series. Luke Summer brings up that she was freaked out not only by how willing Peeta was to give Katniss his bread, but also his willingness to sacrifice his life later on for her, even though they barely interacted. I like to bring up the fact that in real life people sacrifice their lives for complete strangers all the time, and that love is possible even if you don't know somebody completely, and that sometimes these feelings are exaggerated when your feelings are so oppressed by something like the Capitol, if that makes any sense. It's just more says that it's possible that the bread burnt due to some higher force answering Peeta's wishes to help Katniss, and I just think that is a fantastic perspective. Feel free to continue that discussion in the comments here, and also answer this week's question, which is, how do the cameras and the whole reality TV aspect affect the performance of the tributes in the games?